You can just decide to speak. You remember Nike's caption, just do it. So just do it. To manage work pressure, plan your day. Oh, very important. Professor Anubam gives a very important point. So managing work pressure by proper planning. Okay, Professor Rahul says meditation. I agree with you. These are things we are going to discuss. Being in acceptance mode. Some things in life we have to accept. You have to find somebody and talk to them. Get into good social networking, relations. Good, good. Yes. Anything else? Do anybody want to speak? Give more importance only to what we want. So that means we have to give priority. We cannot go after everything in life with equal vigor. Some things we have to prioritize. Yeah, very good points. Very good points. So do anybody want to add something more? Do things which makes us happy and relaxed. As Professor Krishnendu says. Stay from negative-minded discussions. Very beautiful point. We have to get into the company of good people. Otherwise, definitely, we are going to be stressed all our life. I cannot agree with more with Professor. I mean, I completely agree with Professor Rahul Diore says balance work and life. So these are the exact things I'm going to speak about, but in little more detail. So you have the clarity of what is happening. Only thing is we should remember these things more often so that we can accord proper priority. Okay. So I'll go back to my presentation. So first of all, the question is, how do we know whether stress is affecting us? A very dangerous situation happens when we are completely unaware about the fact that we are stressed. And that is where real burnout happens and we land up in real health issues and real psychological problems. When, see, suppose we know that we are driving and we know that there is a danger sign. We didn't see it and we went ahead. And then definitely we are something dangerous is going to happen to us. Okay. So first thing that you have to do is identify whether you or it can be your student or it can be your colleague or family member look for common signs of negative stress. Positive stress is good. Look for signs of negative stress. Very important. So these are some of the indicators. These are only indicators. When you or somebody else is unable to concentrate or focus on work, we are not able to sit for even say 5-10 minutes and do what is required for us. We start something, suddenly jump to some other task, then want something else to be done. Suppose we have very troublesome sleeping patterns. We want to sleep at 11 or 12, but up to 2 we are awake and still we don't know what to do. Okay, some indicators. Sometimes we are feeling overwhelmed. We don't know how to respond to situations. We are clueless on what to do. Memory issues. We are forgetting everything. Huh? Then also it can be. It may be due to some other things, but potentially, if all this come together, definitely it can be stress. Changing in eating patterns. Too much appetite. All the time we want to eat. Or too less appetite. We are not feeling hungry at all. These are indicators. Frequent headaches. Always I'm having headache. Every day I have to take some paracetamol or crocin. Then only I can sleep. Getting sick often. Very often I'm having fever, cold. So these are some of the indicators. So look for these indicators. And if it frequently happens, potentially you can be a candidate who is under stress, right? So this is one recent movie which I watched. So in that there is one very interesting statement. Don't let the past blackmail your present to ruin a beautiful future. Oh, what a sentence. Don't let the past blackmail your present to ruin a beautiful future. See, sometimes, do you know why we are not at peace? Real issues is because we are not able to forgive our past. We feel that somebody harmed us in the past and we ourselves were not up to the mark in the past. I could have done that, then I could be in that college. I didn't get this much grades. So we are unable to forgive our past. It creates a lot of issues. So I'll just show you, say, a 1-minute video. Maybe few of us or many of you have already watched it, but it's worth seeing it again. Just for a change, you can have a look at this. Then we'll come back to our topic. So now I'll give some tips, right? So very important thing. Yeah, start the day well. Your morning routine sets the tone for rest of the day. So I'll give just a few tips only. So try to wake up early. Early risers have a lot of time to do many things that they want to do in the day. Make your bed. I'll talk more about it later. So that is potentially the first activity that we can do, and it gives us a sense of accomplishment. At least we have accomplished a very small task. Think and read something positive. Nowadays, many people, when they look at the newspapers first thing in the morning, I mean, there are so much scary things, stuff that set the tone of the day in a very different way. So try to do some exercise in the day. Eat a healthy breakfast. So suppose you get up late and then you don't have to do, you don't have time left to do many other things. You skip your breakfast. So the all day spirals in that way. Okay. We are already in that mode where we are just rushing and running to trying to meet the daily needs. Just start this way. Wake up early, think and read something positive, do some physical exercise. Doing some physical exercise, some yoga, some jogging, it can rejuvenate your mind and the body. And eating a healthy breakfast, a nutritious breakfast, it is also very important. Okay, so some of our friends already mentioned about giving priority to different things in life. So I'll share a small incident. So once a philosophy professor, he came to his class. He had a jar and some rocks, some pebbles, and he was carrying some sand in a what do you call kit. So before starting the class for his students, what he did was he first put rocks into the jar. There were some pretty big rocks. He put that rocks into the jar. Then he asked the students, "Is it full?" The students said, "Sir, the jar is full." Then he put small pebbles inside that jar. Then he asked them again, "Is it full now?" The students exclaimed again, "Sir, is it? It's full." Then finally he poured the sand into the jar. Ultimately, it was full. Then he told the students, "See, this jar represents our life, and the rock represents the most important, the pretty important things in our life, like our relations, like our family." So you have to fill the life with more important things. You have to give maximum priority to these things. For the sake of job, if you ignore your family, how do they feel? So give proper priority to them. So it's like our family is like, see, it's like we are juggling different balls, different, say, glass balls in our life. Family is like a real glass ball, which is breakable. If you put it down, it may break. You have to give proper time to your family. And then pebbles represents things are important, but not as important as family or anything. Maybe your job. We can change a job. We cannot change our family. And The sand represents things which are least important in our life. Say playing a video game, it may not be that important. So don't fill your life first with relatively insignificant things. Then you don't have space or time left for doing the more important things in your life. So give priority, right? So in your life, make room for what is important. Take care of the rocks first. The things that really matter and are critical to your long-term well-being and happiness. You have to give priority to this. Yeah. So this is a pretty famous speech given by William McRaven. I don't want, means due to that sound issue, I don't want to show this video to you. Otherwise, I'd have shown it. So it's a very interesting, say, maybe a 6-minute video. So he says, if you want to change the world, start off by making your bed. If you leave that bed in a disarray, we are starting our day like that, in disarray. So when we do that small task, our mind becomes conditioned. We feel that, okay, a small task we have done. We are capable of doing some bigger things. Just listen to his speak someday, okay? I will not show it right now. And these are some of the tips. Breathing exercise is very powerful tool for stress management. If you're really stressed up, don't do anything else. For 1 minute, you just listen to your breath. Listen to your breath. Okay? Take long breath. So typically, when we are in a stressful situation, have you ever observed what happens to our breath? Our breath will become shallow. Our breath will become shallow. It is not deep breath. So if you take care that relax and do some soothing breathing, 60 seconds is all it takes to you put it into a relaxed mode. So suppose you're working for 30 minutes or 1 hour, just do this. Don't do anything drastic or anything. Listen to your breath for 1 minute or 1.5 minutes. It can have a huge soothing effect on your body. Creative visualizing, it's very powerful too. Actually, once I was walking through Cochin city, and on the footpath I saw this book. The book title is called Creative Visualization by Shakti Gavan. So I flipped the page and the first sentence itself was so powerful that I purchased that book. Do you know what that first sentence was? Your mind is infinitely creative and the universe endlessly bountiful. You put forth a clear request and everything you need will come to your life. Your mind is infinitely creative and the universe endlessly bountiful. You put forth a clear request and everything you desire will come to your life. So creative, see, first of all, you have to think that all the time we are doing this, but we are doing this unknowingly. Two things are always happening in our mind. We always have some image in our mind. Most of the time, we are having some image. You can just reflect back and think, what is the image I am having in my mind right now? Some image and we almost all the time we are thinking, we are talking to ourselves. Even when we are not talking to somebody else, we are talking to ourselves. That is called affirmation. So once in a while, at least once in a while, especially when you are waiting or when you are traveling, you fill the mind with all the good things that you want in life. You just visualize, okay, you are going to, say, a nice trip to, say, Kumaragam, or a nice trip to, say, Dubai. You are shopping with your family. You are going to Mauritius. You can just create some images. It can be very soothing to you. It can be very soothing to you. And the body posture is also very important. Sit straight and comfortably. That also reduces stress. And avoid alcohol and smoking. Okay. And this is another bestseller written by Brian Tracy. So the title of that book is very strange. The title is Eat That Frog. Oh, what a title. So the frog represents your biggest, most important task that you are most likely to procrastinate if you, because it's very important. It's a very important task. We need to prepare, say, the accreditation report. NB accreditation is coming. And we have to fill in the SAR. We are the accreditation coordinator in our department. Okay, this happened to many of us. And it's not a really entertaining job or anything. Na? So what we do is we keep on postponing it. We keep on procrastinating it. But all the time, this is at the back of the mind. We know that this thing is there. We have to do this. But we keep on postponing. We do the smaller things. We'll value our assignments. Haha. It's so easy. We can value our assignments, put 9 marks, 8 marks, 10 marks. It's easy. We do something else. We mark our attendance. But we procrastinate making the self-assessment report because it is the frog. It is a tough task. So according to Brian Tracy, try to tackle this big job first. Then you have all the energy left in the world to tackle the other jobs. Okay. Yeah. So this, for the time being, I'll just skip it. We get time, we will come back to this. And there is something called the colored glass window. See, the world out, like what we are seeing, it can be very different for all of us. We might be looking at the same thing, but we are looking at it from our own filters, our own perceptions. So I'll just give you an interesting story. So once a young couple, they you just think that they came to Mumbai. The husband is having job there. Okay, the wife, she's a housewife. So they reach Mumbai. They got a very nice flat, well paid in Bandra. You can say it's a very posh area, nice area. So they were having this good flat in Bandra, and the wife looked out of the window, and he saw that the neighbor had put some cloths out there for drying. After washing, her neighbor has put some cloth in the hanger for drying. Oh, and the wife looked at that clothes. She found that they look dirty. They're looking dirty. So she told her husband, "Oh, our neighbor, she don't know even how to wash her clothes properly. It's looking very, what do you call, dirty." So the husband says, "Okay, that's fine. Okay, maybe our neighbor doesn't know how to clean her clothes properly." So the very next day also it happened. The next day also it happens. Finally, one day the wife look out of the window and she sees that, oh, now her neighbor's clothes are looking white and clean. It's looking very nice. So she talks to her husband. Okay, at last our neighbor, that lady learned how to wash her clothes properly. Now the clothes are looking very nice. Then the husband replies, I cleaned our windows. I just cleaned our windows with some cloths. So what was really happening? The lady was looking at that clothes through her window, which was not really, it was dirty. And that created an impression that the world outside is dirty. Sometimes our perception can be wrong. So we have to account for this factor. So don't always think that what we think and what we say is always right. See, one of our colleagues, he already said that we have to have, say, unconditional acceptance of things which are happening around. So some things we should have that feeling of unconditional acceptance. This is one of the best sellers the world has seen. The book is called Power of Now, written by Eckhart Tolle. So Eckhart Tolle was a Canadian. One point in his life, he was almost on the verge of suicide. So somehow he recovered from that situation and he went on to become a spiritual guru, and he wrote a bestseller titled The Power of Now. You can search for it in Google. He has a lot of followers and all. The idea that he proposed is pretty simple. Very simple idea. What he tried to say is that most of our life, what happens to us is we spend our life on two conflicting things. One is that we are too much worried about the past, which we don't have any control of. Past is over. But we think that I could have done that. I didn't do that. That guy tried to damage me. He did this to me. She did that to me. So we are always thinking about the past. So it creates some sense of guilt in us. Okay, that is one part of the story. When we look at our thoughts, we can also feel that we are thinking a lot of time about the past, what happened in the past, and that too about the painful things, not the best thing that happened to us. Might not be. We are thinking about the painful experience in the past. Okay? Then, on the other hand, second part of the story is that we are too much worried about the future. What will happen to my job next year? Is my job safe? Or am I going to fall ill? I'm having this symptom, I'm having headache. So we are too much worried about the future. Will I be able to pay my installments of my home loan? Will my child get admission in a good school or college? A lot of things. So two forces which are pulling us. One is the worry, the guilt of the past, and the anxiety and worry about the future. What he says is pretty simple. He says that there is no point in thinking about it. You have to learn lessons from the past. It is okay. You have to plan for the future. But many of our things are not really planning or really not learning from the past or anything. It is like we are just fretting and fuming about what happens or what is going to happen. He says the power is lies here. You learn to live in this present moment. So forget, he gives some tips also. One thing is focus completely on the job we are doing. Completely on the job we are doing. Try to focus. Another is once in a while you listen to the breath. Then another thing is there is something called the inner body. You listen to the inner body. Just feel the inner body once in a while. So live in the present to the maximum possible extent. So whatever you want to do it now. This moment is shining in your hand like a star and melting like a snowflake. Whatever you want to do it now. This moment is shining in your hand like a star and melting like a snowflake. So use the power of the present moment. Try to live to the possible extent in the moment. It's very powerful. Equally important thing. So we have learned few tips, okay, and some tips. This peaceful thing, if we get time, we'll come back to, right? So this is very important. Physical activity is a proven huge stress reliever. Try to get into the habit of regularly having some physical activity. Some cycling, yoga, jogging, swimming is very good, right? So exercise releases endorphin. It's type of hormones that makes you feel good. Sometimes you feel that after a good bout of jogging or swimming, we feel so relaxed, we feel so happy. That is because of these endorphins. Put on some music, dance around. You cannot dance and be depressed at the same time. Possible, find an exercise partner who push you. Find a partner who says that, okay, calls you in the morning and say that, come on, let's go for jogging, let's play some badminton, let's do it, yaar, come, let's dance. Okay, join for some Zumba classes and all. So it can be your choice, but ensure that you are having some good physical activity at least some point of the day, especially in the morning and preferably in the evenings. Okay, this is very important. And when you are working also, don't like sit for say 2 hours continuously or anything. When we are sitting for half an hour, just get up and walk around for 30 seconds. That's good enough. Just stretch your legs, and so this can be a huge stress reliever. Okay, this already we have seen. So don't think that all this stress is bad. We already talked about it. Positive level of stress is very much required. It enables concentration, it energizes you into action and increase performance. It will facilitate increase performance. So these are known as the four A's of stress management. Or A's of stress management. Avoid people who stress you out. Already one of our friends chatted that sometimes some guys put so much negativity in us. See, whatever we do, some guys are like that. They will fill you with lot of uncertainties. So, to the possible extent, avoid that type of people or situation. For example, too much noisy environment. You know that this place is always going to be so noisy. I mean, try to the maximum possible extent, don't go there. And you know that this guy always says something which unnecessarily stress out people. He makes unnecessary fun of you. I mean, then try to avoid. So, A, first A is avoid situations. Avoid the stressful situation to the possible extent. Alter, express your feelings. All these points I'm not saying new. I mean, you already said that. You have the clarity. But we have to do it on a regular basis. Sometimes we want to say something to somebody, but we fear that we say that and our relation is gone. Huh? And we keep all these things in our mind. It creates unnecessary stress in us. And sometimes we should be willing to compromise also. Don't be so rigid. Okay? And gratitude is one of the proven like stress relievers. See, look at us. We are all people who are blessed. See, many guys are having so many issues, a lot of illness. Many people don't have food to eat. About say 100 crore people in the world, they are starving, and we are having say at least 3 or 4 solid meals in a day. We should be happy. Practice gratitude. Make it as part of your life. Once in a while, you close your eyes and say that I'm grateful for this thing. I'm grateful for my wonderful family. I'm grateful for all the nice food I'm getting. I'm grateful for this music. And accept the things that you cannot change. Acceptance is also required. In our ancient, say, Vedas and all, people they talk about equanimity. Some things you cannot change, you accept it. There are some things in the life which we cannot change. We have to accept it. There are some things in the life which we can potentially change. We have to strive for changing it. So these are the 4 A's of stress management. Avoid unnecessary people and situations which create too much stress. Alter, it's an inner thing. Change your feelings. Be willing to compromise sometimes. Adapt yourself. Accept things that you want cannot change. And this is continuation to what I said right now. See, sometimes you have to stand up for our personal right. You have to be assertive. There's a fine border between being aggressive and assertive. See, you can look at that Venn diagram. So, somewhere an overlap between aggressiveness and passiveness. Passiveness is like, okay, these things happen to me. ये चलता रहता है. This happens to me all the time. He is like that. That is like passiveness. So don't be always passive. People make fun of us all the time. They use you unnecessarily. But don't be too aggressive also. Then also we are in real trouble. So expressing your thoughts and feelings directly and honestly. It is not like we are telling a third party like, oh, that guy is always like that. No, no. You just go to him and say that, okay, what you are doing, I mean, I don't think it's right because of this reason. See, most of the time others may appreciate it, but don't do it often with your superiors. And I mean, we have to do it judiciously. Okay. This also you said yourself. Poor organizing is one of the very common types of stress. Sometimes our workplace is so cluttered. Sometimes our computer desktop itself is so cluttered that we cannot fetch out a single file. Huh? We forget that where I stored that particular file in my computer. So in a computer, the way we are creating folders and putting things neatly, you try to organize your workplace. Having a neat workplace, it, it's a good stress reliever by itself. It reduces the stress by itself. So organize yourself. It is a pretty important thing. So these are some of the time management skills. So managing your time effectively and stress has a correlation. So if you do it effectively, a lot of unnecessary stress in the life will just go away. Prioritizing. You have to prioritize what are the most important things I want to do, say tomorrow, the coming week. You make a list. You start a notebook where you note down an activity book. These are the things that I want to do today. These are the things I want to do it next week. So many times this type of prioritizing help. Scheduling means you have to give proper time for each of these activities and maintain this to-do list. You maintain a small notebook, notepad, keep it in your pocket. All the work that you have to do, you cannot do by yourself. Delegate it here. Delegate it. And resting is also important. You have to take rest once in a while. There were two woodcutters. So one of them, Jack, he used to work hard all the time. Okay, all the time he was working hard. But at the end of the day, he found that his friend John is much more productive than him. So he went to John and asked, "Hey John, I am much more hardworking than you. I am working all the time, but you seems to be so productive. You're cutting more trees than me." Then John replied, "See, once in a while I'm taking rest and I'm polishing my tools. I'm sharpening my axe. So this is one thing we should do. We should keep on improving our skills. We have to take proper rest. Don't work continuously, and that will result in a burnout." Okay. So this is what we need. We need to have some pit stops in our life. Okay. We need to have some pit stops. Somebody who is uh, following Formula One race, they know what is a pit stop. See, these gadgets, these cars, they're running at such a high speed that if you do it for a long time, I mean, the engine is gone and the tires are all gone. So what they do is they're having a short pit stops in between. So what I want to say is we have to give pit stop to us. Don't work ourselves to death. Take some proper rest. Nothing will happen. Yeah? Nothing will happen. We have to take some proper work in our life, so proper rest in our life. And do you know, sometimes we don't need to give too much time for these pit stops. Do you know what is the average time for a F1 pit stop? It's mind-boggling. That process is so efficient. You should have a look at it in YouTube, how this guy does it. The average time is like 2.3 seconds. They change all the tires, they put oil to these engines. It's amazing how they does it. Okay, so the recent record is 1.923 seconds. Can you believe it? 1.923 seconds is the time for world record for a pit stop. 1, 2, and they have changed all the tires and they have put oil and all. Unbelievable, right? But there is a even that 2 seconds is so valuable to that machine. It is so valuable to that gadget. Okay. Without that, that engine is going to burn out. In the same way, we may burn out if we don't accord ourselves the luxury of a pit stop. Right. Also, a famous book. It's on the same lines. See, already we said that there are two different stress response. One is pumping in that adrenaline and cortisol, and the body is ready to take up any challenge, and it can say run away from that situation or fight. So, what typically happens is, see, these things were very much required when we were cavemen. That type of stress response was required for our survival. But now the world has changed and evolved. Now we don't need that too much stress. So we need to have that relaxation response also. We need to have that relaxation response. So if you remember, there are two processes happening. One is it's like putting, like pressing your leg on the accelerator pedal. Then a lot of energy is being pumped into your body. And second part is equally important. It is like putting the body back to the normal. The hormones are balanced, the breathing is normal, the heartbeat is normal. So the body comes back to the normal flow. So that is called the relaxation response. So this guy, he's a very pretty famous doctor, Herbert Benson. He's from US, America. So he uh, talks about mind-body connection. He says that many of the diseases of the body are like products of the mind. It is mainly due to stress. It is mainly due to other problems created by the mind. So we have to take care of the mind. We have to think positively. We have to relax once in a while. We have to meditate. Okay, listen to your breath once in a while. So these are some of the relaxation responses. So Herbert Benson, if you get a chance to read the book, you can read that.